Don't know where they come from. There's no way for the normal consumer to sort this out anymore. We just have to say we have two levels of product. One is a honey-flavoured syrup and the other is actual honey.
96% of the honey jars sold in British supermarkets are potentially fake. That is the staggering reality found in a recent forensic DNA investigation into our food supply. And if you've been stirring this into your morning tea to help your heart, using it as a natural sweetener for your retirement diet, or worse, feeding it to your grandchildren thinking it's a healthy treat, it could be silently affecting your vascular health, your metabolic stability, and even your liver function. While you've been trusting these billion-pound brands, they've been bulking out their jars with industrial syrups. In today's video, we're exposing 6 of the worst honey brands sold in British supermarkets. Products that look pure and natural on the label, but were exposed in recent DNA testing. And at the end, we'll reveal the cleanest, most trustworthy brands you can actually feel good about. This is the honey truth they don't want you to hear. Let's start with the worst offender, Tesco, Stockwell and Company honey. You know Stockwell and Company. You've probably put a jar in your trolley because at 74p, it feels like a win for your weekly budget. Their marketing promise is simplicity, a basic, clear honey that's perfect for everyday use. But here is the scandal. Recent forensic investigations identified this product as a blend of honeys from China and Vietnam, regions where 100% of samples tested in recent EU reports were flagged as suspicious. The betrayal here is biological. At £2.18 per kilogram, it is chemically impossible for this to be pure, raw honey when you factor in the costs of international shipping and sustainable beekeeping. What you are likely buying is an ultra-filtered syrup that has had every trace of health-giving pollen stripped away to hide its true origin. They know you're watching your pennies, and they've used that to sell you a product that recent studies suggest is closer to industrial sugar than a gift from the bees. 2. Rowse Squeezy Honey, blended varieties. You've seen Rowse on every shelf in Britain. They are the market leader, and you likely trust them because of their Hives for Lives marketing and their long British heritage. They promise 100% pure and natural honey in every Squeezy bottle. However, the latest DNA-based tests conducted by the Honey Authenticity Network tell a different story. When 25 jars from major retailers were tested, 24 failed, including the major blended brands you use every day. The betrayal is in the small print on the back of your jar. If your Rowse bottle says, "a blend of non-EU honeys," you are holding a product that is highly vulnerable to honey laundering. This is where industrial-scale producers in countries like China use bioengineered syrups designed specifically to bypass standard tests. Rowse maintains a high-tech lab, but they haven't told you that these new C3 syrups, made from rice and beet, are now so sophisticated they can fool almost any traditional test at the till. 3. Asda Just Essentials / Classic Honey. You've likely noticed the Just Essentials range during your weekly shop. It's the ultimate budget choice, often priced at just 74p for a 340-gram jar. Asda promises a classic runny honey that is fully traceable back to the beekeeper. But recent DNA barcoding analysis found that these budget honeys were among those displaying novel syrup markers. These are chemical signatures of rice and beet syrup that simply don't exist in nature. The betrayal here is to your health. These synthetic syrups have a much higher glycemic index than real honey, causing the exact insulin spikes you're trying to avoid as you get older. While they claim to trace it to the beekeeper, they don't mention that these beekeepers are often industrial aggregators in China who mix honey from thousands of sources, many of which are fed sugar syrup year-round to artificially inflate their yields. But it gets even worse as we move to the next supermarket giant. 4. Sainsbury's Stamford Street Company. Clear Honey. You've probably seen this brand replace the old Basics range. It's part of their Aldi price match strategy, sold for 74p to keep you from switching stores. They promise a pure blossom honey, but recent forensic audits suggest this price point is a massive red flag. Testing in 2025 using spatial offset Raman spectroscopy, a laser that sees through the glass, showed that budget blossom honeys often lack the specific plant DNA markers that should be present if the bees actually visited flowers. The betrayal is in the processing. To keep this honey liquid forever on your shelf, it's heated to high temperatures, which destroys the natural enzymes like glucose oxidase that your body needs for immune support. They've turned a medicinal food into a dead, sugary liquid just to win a price war, and you're the one paying the price with your metabolic health. 5. Hilltop Everyday Blossom Honey. You might buy these larger 720-gram jars because they seem like better value for your family, especially if your grandkids visit for breakfast. Hilltop has grown rapidly and positions itself as a modern, transparent brand. However, recent testing by the Honey Authenticity Network identified Hilltop's large-format everyday jars as high risk. Forensic analysts found that the price-to-volume ratio on these jars, often around £3.40, sits right in the suspicion zone for industrial stretching. The betrayal here is the stretching technique. Some samples showed isotopic ratios that sit right on the boundary between nectar and syrup, suggesting the honey has been bulked out with up to 50% sugar beet syrup. They know you want to provide for your family, but they aren't telling you that every day might mean everyday sugar spikes for your loved ones. 6. Morrison's, Aldi and Lidl own brand blends. Whether you're a regular at Aldi or you prefer the Morrison's till, their budget honey blends are almost identical in their failure rates. You've probably bought them because they look exactly like the premium jars, but cost a fraction of the price. The scandal is that in a major EU investigation, 100% of the honey samples imported from the UK failed authenticity checks. These supermarkets often use the same international packers who launder honey by shipping it through intermediate countries like Thailand to hide its Chinese origin. The betrayal is the lack of transparency. They use images of rolling British hills on the label, but the small print says blend of EU and non-EU honeys. That phrase is a code for we don't actually know what's in here. You are being sold a synthetic brew under the guise of nature's nectar, and the government has been slow to enforce the testing that would stop it. But you don't have to gamble with your health or your family's safety. There are brands out there doing it the right way. For the absolute best quality, regardless of price, you want Black Bee honey. You can find them online or in specialty shops for about £6.95. Why can you trust them? They are a B Corp certified British company that passed the recent DNA tests with a 100% authenticity score. Every jar is single origin, not a blend, and the beekeeper's name and the exact location of the hives are printed right on the label. It's raw, cold-pressed, and contains all the enzymes and nitric oxide supporting compounds that are vital for your heart health. If you're on a fixed income and need a budget-friendly option that is still safe, look for Sainsbury's Taste the Difference Single Origin Honey or M&S Select Farms British Honey. These usually cost between £4 and £4.50. While they are more expensive than the 74p fake jars, they are far safer because they are single origin. By law, a single origin honey, like 100% Spanish or 100% British, is much harder to fake because it doesn't have the blending loophole that fraudsters use to hide industrial syrups. It's a solution that protects your health without breaking the bank. Which brand shocked you the most? Drop your experience in the comments. And if you want to watch another video like this one, click the video on the screen. Thanks for watching.